on any slides tonight, so I'm not going to turn these on, but we have a remote, so that will oh, well, that makes sense. So, Doug and Rodney, and Chad, and Brandon and Jill. And then, I'm sure. All right.
Item number 3, approval and/or correction of the minutes from the regular meeting from November 17th. Motion to accept.
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Rodney. And then, let's see,
Vote.
a vote?
Mr. Hensel?
Yes.
Mr. Ledley?
Yes.
Mr. Wingfield?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Item number 4 is we're moving on to the principal and student showcase with Kent High School Principal Jason Jones, student council members Briley Bosselman, Landon Plogger, and Lindsay Winings.
Good evening. With me tonight, I have Landon Plogger, Lindsay Winings, and Riley Bosselman. They are student council members. I've asked them to come speak tonight because we are almost 2 weeks into an amazing building. I thought it'd be a good idea to give you guys an update from the students' perspective of what they like about the building. Before they get started, I just want to say that the transition to this new building has been almost, I don't say almost, but somewhat seamless, I should say. It's just been amazing. And that's kudos to administration, teachers, staff, kids, everybody for this prep to plan this transition to this new building. So it's an amazing facility, but I want to give them an opportunity to kind of tell you from a kid's perspective what they like about the building. And I'll fill in any gaps that I may have, because I've talked to some kids during lunch and surveyed some to see what they like about it. And I'll let them go. So whoever wants to go first.
Hi everyone, my name is Landon Plogger. So I just want to talk a little bit about the culture in the building right now. It's like truly amazing. I think us three and Mr. Jones, we're in like the admin area and the admin offices, and we were talking about just like the culture in the lunchroom. I don't even know how to describe it. It's engaged and it's talkative, and it's not just lunch. It's building powerful relationships and talking to your peers, and it's truly amazing to see everyone connecting and just talking. And I'm a firm believer in there's 2 foundations that were built at Kent Middle High School. One of them's the foundation that Mr. Hensel knows all about, and the other one is the cultural foundation. And I think it's just huge, and it's growing every single day, and it's amazing. And I don't even know how to describe it. It's just not the same feeling as walking into the old high school as it is the new school. So I just think the culture out there is amazing right now, and it's growing every day. That's all I got on that.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Winings. As we reflect on the old buildings, we know that many lives were touched and many memories were made there. But now it is a new era and a new building that gives pride and opportunities to everybody there. Pride. The new building stands for values much stronger than the middle and high school. The new building, it makes us know that we can be the best versions of ourselves. The new building also makes us know that we have a higher responsibility to take care of the new school. Like, we used to drill holes into the desks that made our school not nice, and now we know we need to take care of our school and keep it nice as long as we can. This new school is a fresh start to participate in new things and try to do different things every day, to not do the same things we do every day, and be able to see everything in a new perspective. Today, I will be talking about the PAC Center, which is the Performing Arts Center. We just had our performance there, and it was amazing. Just 1 week into the building, which was kind of nerve-wracking, that was when our performance was. We were able to design interactive performances there, and the song we sang was Noel, and we would walk onto the stage and have like a whole new experience for everybody there. There was plenty of room and lighting, and we had safe access to the stage, which was amazing, because before we had stairs that many people would fall off of, and that wasn't really good. So now we find ourselves treasuring the old buildings and the new ones. We can protect the new building, respect it, and take pride in now what we have. So now, since it's another era, when people say if the walls could talk, we would know there's lots of memories and everybody loves it there. Thank you.
My name is Briley Bosselman, and I just kind of wanted to give a brief overview of like differences from old school to new school. So, for instance, mainly the gym. So I play basketball, so big things I've noticed is like the video board, like the cool effects that Colt has put together to where we can see ourselves on the video board before the game, starting lineup, throughout the game, just cool effects which help engage people. We've never had such a big student section and so many people actually wear jerseys and are in the theme in general. And although there was lots of people there attending as well, cheering, all of that. I even had girls come up to me after the game and be like, this is a nice place. Although they weren't able to see the classrooms, they weren't able to see every part of it. But the parts they did see, even just a small area, impacted them and were like, we wish we had this, we wish we had that, which is something that we all appreciate that we get now. So, and then like Lindsay talked about, the pack, the sound system, like when we were singing, there were echoes, there were effects, there were the lighting, all of that. A safe environment with ramps instead of stairs. But just overviews, teachers even, they're like, we can adjust our temperature by 2 or 3 degrees. That's a big difference to us. So that's it.
Yeah, so last couple of days I've gone around to the cafeteria and just talked to kids. And some of the things they've highlighted, and I've asked them, you know, what is it about the new building? And the thing that they indicated was the cafeteria. You know, one thing I've noticed in just being down there is, and as Landon pointed out, I feel like, I will say this, on the high school side, it is a little bit quieter than the middle school side. And that's probably due to maturity, obviously. But even our high school kids, they are just quiet, sitting there eating, having conversations. And I ask why. And a lot of them feel like just the space. You get the higher ceilings, bigger space in general, and they feel like it's almost like a food court mentality, which allows them not to be on top of each other and have their own space. And they said they really enjoy that. It just makes them feel less restricted, I guess, is kind of some terms they used. So the cafeteria space, they feel like they're treated more like adults too, because it's kind of different scenes. You got booths, the high tops, and the traditional, obviously, cafeteria tables, but they feel valued and appreciated because of that, they said. Obviously the pack, I won't go into details, but that was mentioned a lot at the gym. One thing some students said is that they realize that with this facility, they know that the community values them and their education. And they almost feel like there's a responsibility that they have to meet that expectation now. And they feel almost like a sense of, or a new mentality, and that they value their own education as well and the opportunities that they have. And the last thing kids have mentioned, obviously, our ag shop. And I know I'm kind of highlighting the back of the building, but we all know that that's probably the highlighted part of the building, is the gym, the pack, the ag shop, and obviously the cafeteria and the commons areas. But obviously the academic wings in the front are amazing too. The technology in the classrooms, the space the teachers have. Teachers at first throughout this move were a little hesitant because it was something new, the unknown, you know. But now that they're in the space, they really value and appreciate it. So that's all we got. But if you guys have questions, I'm here. Yes, Mr. Hensel.
So I was always curious when we were combining the middle school and high school in the same building. How is that? Have they integrated well with each other, or do they not have that much contact?
Yeah, I think really well. You guys want to speak first from a student standpoint?
I literally don't think it could have gone any better. I think when Mr. Jones started out, pretty seamless. I mean, we haven't had issues with like intermingling with everyone. So
Do you ever interact with them?
Oh.
Kids ever?
Oh yeah, walking to lunch, saying what's up guys. I mean, I think it's cool to have, you're used to just seeing your friends that you've gone to school with for your high school, at the old high school, you're used to just seeing those people. So I think it's cool to see the younger group and see them watching us and being able to be a role model. I think it's really cool with the younger group in the building as well.
Something I thought was really cool is since none of us had a clue where we were going for the first week, I saw 6th graders showing high schoolers where to go and high schoolers showing 6th graders where to go. So I loved how the mixed communication got to come together and we could all help each other out in ways that I never knew what could happen with the age gaps.
I got another question. So it's a long ways from the choir to the upstairs to get up there. Is that?
As far as I know, so far it hasn't been an issue. I mean, it's close, I'm not going to lie. You know, we give 3-minute transition periods, and it's probably upwards of 2 minutes and 50 seconds or so. But as far as I know, and some of those teachers have shown grace because they understand that it's a large facility, large building, and they're going to allow, you know, understand that if I'm coming from the ag shop, it's going to be a haul. But
Yeah, I know Chris said it's about 30 seconds late. Switch class out or more.
yeah, but to your question about coming together, there's not a lot of interaction. However, the interaction I've seen has been positive. You know, it is an opportunity for our kids to to model behaviors, possibly expectations. And I find myself, you know, the first few days, you're just trying to get your feet wet and get a vibe. But I find myself in week 2 now, and I'm down there in the cafeteria a lot. I head down to the middle school section, and I start to talk to those kids. You know, Mr. Cameron made a point that he already knows the high school students because he's had them. The high school teachers and administrators, we don't know the middle school kids. We haven't had them yet. So it's an opportunity for us to get to know those kids and as we anticipate them coming to the high school side in the near future. So, but we hope that, you know, that culture piece coming together, school spirit. You know, Wednesday we have our first assembly, a speaker coming in. We're going to use the PAC for the first time, so it's nice. From a high school side, we've never had that since I've been a teacher or administrator at Kent High School, to be able to have an assembly in a seated area like that. We usually have in the gym, but this is an opportunity for us to have that in the PAC on Wednesday. So,
Are you the one that picked the McDonald's bell?
I did not. He might be in the room, though.
When they changed it, it used to be Taco Bell,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Yeah, have fun, Brad.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Well, let me have you guys stay up there for a second. If you want, the board's gonna come over and get a quick picture with you. We'll be over here at the top. You guys stand in front. There you go. Perfect. All right. 1, 2, 3, 1 more. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Was there anybody signed up for the public?
Can you hand that paper down? Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, so item number 5 is the public comment section that we're moving into now. We're going to welcome Natalie and Benjamin Murphy to speak on special education. Yeah. Yep. 3 minutes.
Mhm.
I'm just going to read from my phone because I usually don't do these kinds of things. Good evening. My name is Natalie Rodriguez Murphy, and I'm here tonight as a mother who is tired but determined. I know I'm that mom, the one people sigh about, the one staff might not want to deal with. I can feel it when school employees look down on me, and yes, it hurts. But being that mom is the reason my son Tobias is alive today. If it were your child or your grandchild or your friend, you would do this too. You would stand up and do what is right, even if it's hard. Tobias was overlooked by a doctor who dismissed every symptom because he was on the waiting list for an autism diagnosis. Nothing else was considered, not even type 1 diabetes. But I pushed, I questioned, I refused to be quiet, and that saved his life. I refused to be a part of the silence that hurts children like mine. Recently, I captured a moment of Tobias teaching himself sign language, something no one prompted, something no one taught him. He figured it out on his own because he wants so desperately to communicate with a world that often seems uninterested in communicating with him. Tobias has more humanity than most of the people in this room, including myself. He shows it every day by continuing to try, by reaching out, by believing in connection, even when the world does not meet him halfway. He sees the good in everyone, even when others look the other way. Our world is very different from the one many of you live in. Our society revolves around neurotypical comfort, expectations, and routines when it should revolve around everyone. Children like Tobias are not visitors in this world. But brilliance and potential mean nothing if a child is ignored, and Tobias has been ignored not once but repeatedly, most recently for an hour and a half. He had ran out of Propel packets that his aide knew what he wanted, and they didn't call me until his Dexcom had failed. This is not just about Tobias. Jason was also placed in a classroom with third graders, and while in that classroom, a desk was thrown. That is not safe, not for Jason, not for other children, and not for the staff. These are not isolated incidents. These are warning signs of a system that is not working the way that it should. My son Jax is 5 years old. He has autism, and he has been called manic by a teacher. That is not okay, and it is an insult to a child who has a disability. He has also been put in harm's way twice. Sorry, I repeated that. They deserve understanding, support, and placements that allow them to succeed. My daughter Kita also has a legally required 504 plan that was changed and not followed without my consent. This is not a misunderstanding that was intentional, that is not upholding the laws we have in place. There are children who are given more than the bare minimum, and when they are, incredible things happen. I read a story about a boy who was nonverbal for 14 years. Everyone assumed he was incapable until his father discovered he could communicate using his thumb for an AAC device. That child had been fully capable the entire time. What he needed was not less expectations, but the right way to communicate. Today, that child is an adult attending MIT and a mathematical genius. The potential was always there. The support made the difference. I want to be very clear about something. I do not blame the individuals in this room. I do not blame teachers or staff who are doing their best they can within a broken system. I blame the system itself. When Mike Letty completed his evaluation and it was accepted at face value by the superintendent without deeper review or independent verification, it showed the process for understanding what truly happens in our schools is broken, a process that allows bias to exist, and when bias exists, children are the one who pay the price. Because if no one says that this isn't working, it will never be fixed, and families like mine will continue to suffer. That is why I'm here, not to attack, but to speak the truth so the system can work for everyone. My oldest daughter, Bella, showed me in third grade how it matters, because she listed me as an ordinary person as her hero because of how I stand up for people like Tobias, Jason, and Peter. By teaching our children to value people with disabilities, we can slowly change the world to see disability different than we do now. Anyone can become disabled at any point in their life, and when that happens, they deserve the same value, dignity, and respect as anyone else. Children like Tobias teach us what humanity truly is in a world that has lost patience, compassion, and love. They bring it back, and I believe part of the reason children like Tobias exist is to remind us to slow down and return us to our humanity. Even if nothing changes, I know I'm doing what is right for my children. I will continue to speak clearly, firmly, and without apology until they receive the safety, support, and respect that they deserve. Thank you.
She's probably taken most of my time, but me and my wife are foster parents. We have 3 biological children, and then we have 2 fully adopted out of the foster system, and another adoption that we're planning on doing here in a few months. 4 or 5 have special needs. There's great people in the system. The system seems broken. When she was saying that Jax was in the room, and he's with third graders, he's a kindergartner, and had a desk thrown at him. We shared what our worries were with him being put in that class before the school year started, when we were setting the IEP, which we refused to sign at the end of last year because they were going to go and place him in that room. And I said, one, the adult supervision is there, but at the same time, the physical threats against him of someone 4 grades above him is a lot more detrimental than a freshman to a senior. The size difference and everything else is going to be a lot more different with something like that with a third grader and a kindergartner who is not fully developed by any means. It would have been smarter, it would have been a better thing for him to be put with a one-on-one aide, to be able to go and help with handle the behaviors and have them within arm's reach and all the rest of the stuff that's already written in many people's IEP that we had to fight for 4 years to go and be able to go and get for Tobias for his medical needs. Secondly, I have family members that are on Netflix for criminal documentaries, and most of my dad's side of the family is in prison. I was the first person to graduate high school, and then I went and got several degrees, and I've been serving this community and Ada for 5-6 years now. And what I'm going and doing everything else, and the fact that I go and have more energy drinks than I do hours of sleep a night, it's a lot, but I recognize the potentialities of my family to not go down that path. And we also went and shared about the antisocial behaviors and everything else that could go and develop with being in a room of 3-4 people at a time instead of going and being in a room of his peers where he deserves to be, was not given the chance to be, which is why we refused to sign the IEP. And he was still placed in the classroom. I think that's a problem with parental rights, because, and again, I've worked at the school for 3 years. I understand the giant problem in the system is most parents don't care. Most parents aren't involved. But at the same time, we are. I would very easily consider myself more involved in my children's life than most parents out there. Not that we're perfect by any means. But in general, there's a lot of things like that that we should have more of a communication and more of a right to be able to go and choose where our child is going to go and be, so then they're not physically assaulted by another student. And then go and have permanent damage, because he's already had seizures and stuff like that. His mom is an addict, was most likely very well likely to be born with drugs in his system. Nothing's been proven or otherwise. Dad's in prison. Most of my family's in prison. He's had seizures. I'm more worried about the things that I've seen in my family leading them to be the people that they have ended up being, and trying to go and avoid that in his life, so then he can go and be another person like me, going and changing family generational trauma and everything else. And he was not afforded that opportunity, and we've had to go and fight and had meeting after meeting to be able to go and do so, and nothing's resulted of it. He's still in the classroom. We just had a meeting today for another 3 hours to then go and immediately leave to go and drive to Columbus for another special needs appointment, to go and drive back here to go and deal with all this tonight. It's great people. It's still a broken system.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Murphy. Moving on to item number 6 is reports of the treasurer.
The auditors have finally started on our audit. So I've been involved with that. At some point, you guys will probably start, all the board members will get one of those fraud papers that you'll have to complete, send back. So just understand that might be forthcoming at some point in time. And then in our agenda, there are items 10D and 10E where I'm amending the revenues and the expenditures. And a big part of that is the grant that Colt had written, the COPS grant for $355,000. So I'm just increasing the revenues and the expenses on that so we can spend the money. And then we've got that 070 capital improvement, which we had transferred money as of this past school year of a little over $4.7 million. And I'm just getting ready to be able to spend some money I don't know how much, I just put 300,000 out there, because we've got some facilities that we're gonna be paying for, which we talked about in our finance committee meeting. You got a question?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we still have money left in the fund from the repairs for the new schools.
Yes,
Can we use that for that?
no. If you're talking about the half-mil maintenance,
Right.
that's only meant for the buildings that are built, not not athletic facilities.
No, I'm talking about the 38,000 for the air purpose.
Oh, well, yeah, we could do that, yeah. Yeah, I wasn't talking about that, but
Yeah.
yes, we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
yeah, we can do that.
I mean, it's there. There's a lot.
Yes, yes, I've taken some of that money that we've been spending and putting it out of that fund for sure. Yes, we could do that. Yep. That's about it.
All right, thanks, Joe. Item 7 is superintendent's reports.
Nope, we have to vote.
Oh, sorry, we have to vote. Sorry, jumped ahead.
Second.
Second.
Thanks, Rodney.
No, Mr. Wingfield did. All right, Mr. Ledley,
Yes.
Mr. Wingfield,
Yes.
Mr. Carmine, Mr. Hensel.
Okay, now item number 7, superintendent reports, recognition of board member for years of service to Kenton City Schools.
Yeah, so we'll start with that. We have a nice golden apple here to present Doug, so we'll, I don't know if Ken wants to get a picture later, but I'm going to hand this to you now. Just want to thank you, yes. So Doug has been a member of the Board of Education for 8 years, so he was one of the few that stay on beyond one term, so that was very nice. But what I wanted to highlight is he also was president of the board for 4 out of those 8 years. So 2020, 2022, 23, and 24 served as president of the board. So Doug, I just want to thank you very much for everything that you've done. A lot of those years obviously were with me, so I really appreciate being a new superintendent, having a board president and just a board member that has always been willing to take a phone call, a text message, whatever it takes to help me out. So I just really appreciate it. So thank you. Also, just a quick update, since it was mentioned about the COPS grant, you can see that was 300 and some thousand,
$355.
$350,000. I think I brought it up before, but we had another meeting today, and the guy that was on that meeting said, you do realize only 13% of the people that applied, 13 in the districts, 13%, received that money nationally. And so he was like, do you realize, like, what did you guys do to, because this was a professional grant writer. And I said, well, it was Colt here, wrote his first grant and managed to get that. So I just want to highlight him again for bringing $350,000 worth of safety grants to our community. So a lot of that, most of it stays with the school. A lot of things such as it's not bulletproof, but it's a safety glass for the entire new building downstairs where it's going to slow a bullet, that kind of thing, but also some of the stuff, the graphics that you see at other buildings and stuff on the outside, so you can't see in super well, but it looks nice. That'll be coming. There's a lot of stuff, but even KPD is benefiting. They have some thermal cameras, the radio systems, some things that if they need to come help us out, obviously that will help, but also just things that they needed. So again, shout out to Colt on that. And then the last thing I needed to mention is we do have a board opening. That hasn't been out there yet. But after the election, we got a phone call from our board attorney that said, no, did you realize that the last appointment was for 2 years? And of course, we did not realize that. Brad did not realize that. Nobody on the board did. But when we found that out, we called the Board of Elections, said, what do we need to do here at this point? And they said, well, you're going to have to go through the same process you did 2 years ago, which means you got to appoint somebody again. So I'm going to ask Tim at the end of this just to make sure that that gets in the paper, that we're going to be collecting anybody that has interest resume from now until the January board meeting. And then at the January board meeting, we'll have an executive session at the end where we'll look at all of those that are interested, and the board will select someone, and they'll make that appointment in February's board meeting. So Tasha will need to come, which she's on vacation, because we'll only have 4 members in December. or I'm sorry, in January's meeting. So just, hopefully that makes sense, but again, I'll explain more, Tim, so you can get that in the paper and things, so people can be aware. So that's it, I think that's it for me.
All right, thanks, Chad. Were there any board committee reports?
Just finance, I think, was the only one. We talked a little bit about just what projects we have going on right now, doing some drainage work at the existing stadium locker room, and then there'll eventually be concrete that'll be put in there for parking. And then the new locker room facility that's being worked on by the high school is getting ready for poured walls, concrete walls, and eventually will be, make sure I'm getting all this right, but roofing that'll be able to be, the trusses and things that'll be able to be put up after the first of the year, with hopes obviously of completing this spring. Also, it's been mentioned before, but tennis courts, getting the base of that, the tennis courts set for now, and then we're working through, as part of what we're going to do in the agenda tonight, for joining in compliance, so that way we can hire a tennis court company that will finish that. So it'll have the concrete base, but then you need to put a layer on top of that for the tennis court surface and fencing, netting, that kind of thing. So I think that's it. I don't know, is there anything else? Do you want to mention maybe the interest?
Interest money for the project, we have close to $3 million between the LFI and the local funds. So we're hoping we'd make it because we had to pay some arbitrage money, and we're about right up there where we thought we would be, so that's it.
That's it?
All right. And there was no old business.
Nope.
So we'll move into new business. Before we get set to start the new business, I just wanted to announce that we had to make a change to item 10I. So I believe if there's a unanimous decision here for this, I'll put my name in place of Tasha's name for board president.
And again, that's the pro temp, which just means you'll serve in that role for the next meeting in January, and then we'll appoint the president from that point, so.
So now we'll move back to,
And just real quick, just make sure unanimous to allow that to take place.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep. Thank you.
all right, thanks, guys. Moving on to authorizations and resolutions. Item 10A is to approve the following donations. And we can see the list of those donations there, and it just always goes without saying that we're just really appreciate all of the generosity and the goodness of people when they give these donations. So item 10B is to approve the quote from Chambers Control Company to provide and install air curtains at Kitten Elementary School. Item 10C is to approve the limited warranty deed for the property sale to Midwest Regional ESC for the property located at 530 Gilmore Street. Item 10D and item 10E are both of those funds that Jill had spoken about, as well as Chad. Item 10F is to authorize the membership in the In Compliance Consulting National Purchasing Consortium. And then item 10G is to support the efforts of other boards of education to obtain favorable judicial decision, and whereas the Ohio School Board Association's Legal Assistance Fund has been established for this purpose. Item 10H is to approve the date and time for the reorganizational and regular meeting for Monday, January 12th, 2026 at 6 p.m. And we already covered 10I. A motion to accept. Thanks, Rodney. Thanks, Doug. Moving on to personnel items.
Discussion
We have a vote. Discuss vote.
and roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Wingfield?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine? Mr. Hensel? Mr. Ludley?
Yes. Item 11, personnel items. Item 11A is to approve Trevor Sparks as KMHS custodian second shift. Item 11B is to approve Jill Tillman, KES custodian second shift. Item 11C is to approve Dan Evans as KES custodian second shift. Item 11D is to approve the written resignation of Tammy Ludwig, KCS bus aide, effective December 4th. Item 11E is to approve the following salary adjustment for Susie Thrush. Item 11F is to approve the written resignation of Evelyn Fisher, ESL teacher, effective June 1st of 2026. Item 11G is to approve the written retirement resignation of Nanette Laverne, Title I teacher. And Nanette has been with Kenton City Schools for 30 years. So we thank her for her many years of dedicated service and commitment to Kenton City Schools. Item 11H is to approve the written resignation of Jackie Lamb, KMHS cafeteria. Item 11I is to approve the following volunteers for the 2025-26 school year for indoor track, and we see those list of individuals there as well. Any discussion? Motion?
Motion. Move to it.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Rodney. Vote?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Hensel?
Yes.
Mr. Ledley?
Yes.
Mr. Wingfield?
Yes.
And the next regular Board of Education meeting will be held on January 12th at 6 p.m. Timeout is 6:38.
What do I need to do for the High Point board stuff?
Just hand it to Chad so he can sign that.
I do know.
You do know